so, and those cards are very deep on the first side that you
Yeah, they are.
made.
They're very good.
So I just thought that
Okay.
might
Well, I have the
help
cards
her.
if you guys would like to do that.
It might help her with, or, you know, it'd
Right.
be interesting just to
Right.
hear it,
Right.
because of what we're talking about here.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I have one last thing that I want to share, and then we're going to wrap up. Sheila's going to wrap up, and we're going to check out our intentions to see if maybe we got some answers around what our intention is. But one thing I find it important to ask yourself is it possible? So let's say I want for Annie it would be peace of mind around the situation with her husband. Is it possible for her to have that? She has to ask herself, can I have that? Is it possible? Because if you don't believe it's possible in the core of yourself, then guess what? It's not possible. So in any situation, no matter what it looks like, if you can say, is it possible? Then you open yourself up to possibility, and you allow things to happen naturally. And they're not what you ever expect them to be. Ever. So I told the girls the story last night, so now you get to hear it again.
Yes.
And I don't know if I've shared this with you before, but when I was on my way to Skinny Atlas in December, I left the Denver airport and I had a layover in Philadelphia. And I made it to Philadelphia just fine. But when I got to Philadelphia, there was a lot of cancellations of flights. And I had to be in Skinny Atlas at 6:30 that night for the event. And I was getting to Philadelphia at 12 o'clock. I was leaving at 1 o'clock. I was getting to Syracuse at 3 o'clock. Plenty of time, you know, before 6:30. And there was an ice storm going on in upstate New York that day. It's great.
Surprise.
And so pretty much all of the flights to upstate New York were canceled. And I thought, okay, well this is interesting. I wonder how this is going to work out. I didn't close off to the idea that I wouldn't still make it. I was just in a very, very good space. I'd done a lot of meditation that morning. I felt very good. I felt very open to what was going to happen, and I wasn't worried about it at all. So I saw cancel, 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 cancel. I mean, you wouldn't imagine the amount of red on the board. Cancel. Everything was canceled. So I go to the terminal where my flight's supposed to be taking off to find out what the next step's going to be. And we get over there, and it's complete chaos. Everybody's, you know, running around screaming, chaos, crying, angry, not happy that they're not going to get to go where they want to go. And it was kind of like it was outside of me. I saw the people doing it, and then I thought, I don't want to be that. I want to make the choice not to be in that space. So I did it. And I go up to the counter, and there was a woman in front of me screaming at the worker, the attendant. And I was like, no, I'm not going to go there. So I get up to the desk, and I said, you know, this is my situation. I was just wondering if we could just partner with each other to figure out what I can do, what my options are. And so she was very thankful, I think, that I wasn't yelling at her. And she said, well, the next flight for Syracuse doesn't leave till 6 tonight, and that's if the weather clears up. And I said, okay, well, that's not going to work. Should I rent a car? And should I just drive up there? And she said, well, let me think. And she said, oh, what about Ithaca? It's close to Syracuse. And she said, there's a flight. Let me check it out. So she looked, and the flight wasn't until 7:30 that night. And I said, okay, well, that's definitely not it. Because I felt very, very strongly that I was supposed to be in Skinny Atlas. I knew in the core of my heart that I had to be there. And so we sat there and just kind of looked at each other like, I wonder what's going to happen here. I don't know. She goes, I know. And then all of a sudden, she goes across the terminal to some guy who's working for U.S. Airways. It was U.S. Airways. I have to put in a plug for them because they were really nice. And she said something about, has that plane left for Ithaca yet? He said, no, it hasn't. So she was like, here's the ticket, go over there. I'm confused, because I'm like, you just said Ithaca doesn't leave till 7. So she said that there was a flight earlier that morning that hadn't left yet, and they were getting ready to leave, that there was somehow they were going to take off. So I go over and I stand by the door of the terminal I'm going to be leaving out of, and I'm waiting. I wait for 30 minutes, and nobody else is there. And I'm thinking, well, wouldn't everybody to go on this plane. And I'm standing there, and the guy was like, all right, come on, let's go. It's your turn. I'm like, okay, whatever. So we're walking outside. He's got the umbrella. He's like, you know you're on this plane by yourself, don't you? I said, what? He said, yeah, you're the only person on this plane. I said, well, how is that possible? He said, I don't know. So I get up to the plane and I walk in, and the stewardess is like, come on. And it's a 75-passenger plane. Nobody's on there but me. They say, you know, sit where you want to sit. And I said, I'm like, what? You know, my jaw is down to my chest. And so I sit down, and the stewardess is like, you know, what do you want? How can I help you? I said, just go sit in the back and take a break and read your book. And so all of a sudden, we're getting ready to leave the airport, and the pilots come on. They're like, welcome, Megan. We're going to take you to
Funny. That's wild.
I was like, God.
Did they do the seatbelt thing?
She didn't even do the seatbelt.
That was actually
Like
my
that.
question from last night. I was wondering.
No, she didn't. I was like, oh, I've seen it before. And so so we took off, and so I was like, how is this possible? And I still don't really know where all the people went or what happened. Or there just happened to be a break in the clouds at that moment in time, and they took me into the Ithaca airport, which is this big. And when we landed, it started snowing. And I get off the plane, and all these people are standing there, and they're like, welcome, how is it to have the plane to yourself? I'm like, well, I'm not Oprah, I don't know what's going on here. Nobody knew who I was. And they turned around and went back to Philly on an empty plane. And so it was a testimony to knowing that anything is possible.
How'd you get to Syracuse then? Did you rent a car?
They sent a driver for me.
Good.
And there are people that had me fly in. Yeah. No, not US Airways. Yeah,
And she was to Skinny Atlas before the arrival time that you were supposed
yeah.
to get.
So I was supposed to be arriving in Syracuse at 3:30, but I was in Skinny Atlas at 3:30. And so it's up to us to make that decision that if anything is possible, as demonstrated in the story, just think of all of the options that could happen. I mean, it can come from anywhere, and it's always where we don't expect it to come. So when you open yourself up to the possibility of something happening, just hold the space for what you want. I wanted to get here. My heart was here. And the universe responded and said, well, I don't know how I'm getting, but here you go. Here's an empty plane. Here's your private jet. Go. And I did. And so, and that's what I want to leave you with, is knowing that whatever you want for your life, you can have it. But you make the choice as to how open you're going to be. And if you're open, you will be more than fulfilled, more than just delighted at what it's going to look like, because the universe, God's Spirit, is so compassionate that it gives us what we want and more. And it never fails. It never fails when you're open. So, good.
Yeah.
If you guys,
Megan, that's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
Wonderful message for us to leave. Yeah.
if everyone would take the time to go and find your intention.
I think it's important to